Alright, we might be seeing another Nimzo. I'm liking it enough to play it again. Will white respond with the knight here? Yes, they will. Okay, so we don't have, instead of knight here, bishop to g5, but rather more, well, more just right to it. This should look very familiar. I've run with this setup quite a bit. E5, D6 structure, and now this square is where I want to be. Hop to it. Knight right here. Stop this bishop move. Let's stop this pawn move. If the knight plays here and the bishop takes, I might want to consider... What? What might I want to consider? Pawn takes like this and then getting this knight to this square, but I think this pawn could be in some trouble. Thinking for a second about h5, h4, anticipating knight g3. Let's see about that, though. Maybe I don't want to bring my knight here. Why don't I come over in this direction? This pawn isn't going to push. This bishop isn't going to be a bother, is it? I think I want to come over here. Get to f4. Since this bishop isn't around to guard f4, it's not really a bother here, is it? Alright, let's go, knight. I don't want to go to c5. No thanks. Let's go, knight. Castle. Maybe I could get back to this square. If this bishop wants to come over here, maybe I could come back over here. It's castle. Alright, well, I better take here, otherwise I'm getting squashed. Okay, yeah, I have a really clear plan right now, and it's to get rid of these knights and then reposition my knight on e5. Two ways I could get there. My first thought was to play here. I could play here, though, too. There's no reason not to just do that, right? My bishop can't be deflected from its defense, so let's play here. It's more aggressive. And I just want to sit on the e5 square. I want to hold that down. There might, however, be something with c5, and then if I take, knight plays here, like, well, it's not now because I have pressure on the bishop, but something with c5 takes, just to undermine my knight's position. I might need to just play f6, and to compensate for the weaknesses that I create with f6, I might want to have my bishop sit on f7. Just as you would in some fianchetto type of position, right? You do this move, you weaken these two, you place the bishop here to watch over these two squares. So similarly, if I do this to reinforce the knight, I weaken these two, maybe my bishop could play here and watch over both. Anyhow, I really do feel like f6 is best right now. Or maybe not. Maybe queen here is better. Queen trade? And then play here. Doubled pawns are not really a problem, but actually queen here. Oh, you know what? Queen here. No, it's not really working, is it? Or maybe it is. A little calculation needed right now. Queen g5, if the queen exchange is avoided with, let's say, queen f2, I could be taking here. And if bishop back to c1 to hit my queen, I think I come back, maintain this pin, and then I come back with my bishop a little bit later. I think I'm going to try that. I'm going to go with queen g5. I've chewed up a lot of time here. So the queens either come off or I win a pawn, I'm pretty sure. Also, okay, well, let me do this. And the last thing I was going to say is even if my knight is taken, the position then transitions. Position transitions into what? It transitions into a good versus bad bishop. I want to stop this pawn from playing here. I don't want the a file to open up. If bishop takes, how do I recapture? I'm pretty sure like this. Bishop here might already be forcing. Bishop takes knight. Let me do this. Pressure on this pawn. It's hit twice. Okay, now we're seeing a classic example of good versus bad bishop. Now, in this resulting endgame, I think I might want to keep a rook around. So, just to maybe still cause some trouble, and maybe get my bishop on this square, put pressure on this pawn, and make it inconvenient somehow, or maybe position my rook on f4, and if it's captured, I think this is the right idea. Rook right here I think is an important move. If it's taken, I could capture like this and then get my king to this square. Pressure on this pawn and having these as targets I think work out well. I think if I trade rooks with rook takes rook, it turns out to be a draw. Let's see if I'm right about that. Let's see. Okay, pawn here. No, actually I could just win this pawn now. I was threatening this pawn. So now this is definitely a one game because I'm snipping this pawn. This did come with a threat. Rook takes pawn. Yeah, this has to be correct now. I'm just taking this pawn. If it's threatened, I'll come back over. If the king plays here, I could do this. If the rook plays to f6, I get up here just in time. Although the rook could maybe play to e6. That could be a bit disruptive. But no. I'm on the bishop right now. Hang on. Recognize the direct threats first, instead of getting caught up into your little plans here. So I think I just come back over. Rook here is probably good too, but I'm okay with just playing here. Connected pass pawn. And let's defend here and watch out for the king getting to this square. Okay, king position. King position right here. This is connected pass pawn. I want my king here, I think. Okay, let's stop the king from getting active. And I want to weasel my bishop around now. Pinpointing this, zigzagging my way. Okay, I'm on this. The bishop has to come back. I could be taking this square, but I like... the pawn could push here, but I can still zigzagging right here. Maybe that could have been prevented, but now I'm getting really active, and that's close to mate. And now that pawn is going to be won. I think maybe this is the best try, but no, that's losing to some stuff. So this is, again, good versus bad bishop ending, and now this pawn is ready to rumble. Alright, cannot be stopped. Alright. If bishop played there, I would have just taken, right? So these are falling now. And then the bishop's lost. Okay. Alright. Good game, Tim. Let's back up here. Flip that board and see what the story is. I don't know about the immediate pawn push. So I would hold off on this pawn push. Not so sure about it. It does stop a knight maneuver, c6, a5, but something seems weird with running with d5 so early on. So that's one thing. It's that has my attention. Because now I have this square available. I could already say this early on, c5 is a possibility for my knight. Whenever there's weaknesses created very early on, I definitely start to come back to those particular positions and question getting into that type of situation so early on. So something other than d5 might include knight e2, knight g3, f3. Again, I have seen this setup with knight e2, f3, and then like a g4, knight g3, which has given me problems. I've had in Blitz. I believe at least one GM went with that setup, and I've seen some IMs, I believe, as well. Something with that. I'm not certain of the exact move order, but something along the lines of the F3 G4 structure with the white pawns, and the knight coming behind it with G3, and maybe even throwing up the H pawn. So be aware of that type of structure that you could maybe test out. You could play around with that. To be honest, I'm feeling pretty comfortable. As soon as I made up this decision to not play here, but rather just come over in this direction, this bishop's kind of out of play. And I'm eyeing the F4 square. Trade of knights, I hold on to the E5 square. And this is a stronghold. This is really tough now. Queens are off. This is difficult for you to break down. I don't know if that there is a way to break it down. So I think it's getting all the way back once again to pawn structure. The D5 move. Run with something else. Knight E2, F3, Knight G3 stuff. Okay.